Welcome, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Bridge Builders of Diversity, where we are bridging that gap between the typical community and the disability community. And today we're going to talk more about invisible disabilities. Don't forget, I'm Sherry. I'm a mother of a child with Down syndrome, and this is
Roberta, and I am a special education teacher. And we're going to talk about one of the most misunderstood invisible disabilities, and that is sensory processing issues, or sometimes called sensory integration disorder. This is something that frequently dovetails with autism and or Tourette's or learning disabilities, ADHD. So again,
what is that sensory integration? What does that actually mean?
I'm glad you asked. First of all, we all have a sensory system, and that's how we process information that we take in through our senses. Let's recap our 5 senses. We have sight, scent, hearing, touch, and taste. Those are our 5 senses. So what happens is we get sensory input from one of those senses. We hear something, we see something, we smell something, we feel something, we taste something. And sometimes that information gets jumbled up in our brain, and it can either not register, or it can register a deeper impact than for a typical someone who processes their sensory information typically. I didn't say she was typical, but quite. Again, an invisible disability, because doesn't she look magnificent? So
I have lots of learning disabilities.
What happens with a person or a child with a sensory integration disorder or sensory processing issue is that things might register as too much. So they will, for protection, avoid sensory input. They're going to do things like wear sunglasses inside. They're going to wear a hat to avoid shield their eyes from the light. They're going to wear headphones.
Noise canceling.
They're going to have all the tags cut out of all their clothes, and maybe only wear either very, very tight clothes or very, very loose clothing, depending on what their needs are.
Interesting.
It really is. It really is. And the great news is that this is not the end of the world. If you or someone you love has a sensory processing issue, there are so many ways.
Now, was there ways to desensitize somebody?
There are ways that you can desensitize. You would probably contact an occupational therapist, and they might prescribe a sensory diet. Things that you would have in a sensory diet might involve swinging or brushing or heavy work, things like push-ups. We can even do like push-ups against the wall, so you're getting that impact. Or you might want to wear something super, super tight to keep yourself organized.
Is that where that weighted clothing comes in?
Weighted clothing and compression clothing serve 2 different purposes, but you often see it on young children with sensory processing issues. And what it does is it helps them to stay organized and keep their sensory information from going haywire and either overstimulating or overwhelming them. So one of the things that you can do to help someone with a sensory processing disorder is warn them that things are going to be loud or bright or hot or cold. Sometimes you'll have a kid that refuses to wear winter clothing in the winter, or a child who refuses to wear summer clothing in the summer.
One time, all they have to do is freeze their little hiney off. You don't have to fight with them.
No. And they may run super, super hot, or the cold might feel good to them.
Right.
It's all going on in their brains, invisible, so that we can't see it. So one of the things you can do is warn somebody. Another thing you can do is allow them to wear the clothing that's comfortable for them, even if it's not the adorable dress that grandma bought for the pictures. Try to make a compromise. You can wear your Under Armour under the adorable dress, or something like that. Because often what you'll see with a child with a sensory processing disorder is they trip the scale and they got overwhelmed easily, and they may not have the words because they've always felt that their whole life, they don't have the words to express how they're feeling.
Right.
So you'll see tantrums, or you'll see maladaptive behavior, like things that look rude or unpleasant, because they're not feeling regulated and balanced. They're not.
One thing I do like with Nathan, because he doesn't have the gift of speech, if he's upset or something, I'll ask him yes/no questions and try and figure out, since he can't express himself verbally, he does have sign language, but sometimes explaining an emotional thing doesn't come through as clear on sign. So I'll ask him yes/no questions, like, did something happen at school? Did somebody yell at you? Did you fall?
Something too loud, too hot?
Yes. Whatever I think might have happened, or if the teacher texted me about something, then I'll just ask yes/no questions, and I find that helps him feel heard.
That's a great strategy, great strategy, and it also is going to teach that child to self-advocate, or that child or that person, because sometimes these invisible disabilities go undiagnosed.
Right.
So you end up, a lot of times people in adulthood end up feeling like they're peculiar, or they are the only one in the world that feels this way, or they might get a lot of hate, because they're like, well, why weren't you at that function where everybody wanted you to be, but you were feeling totally overwhelmed, or the lights were too bright, or the music was too loud, or it was a situation that you couldn't process sensorily.
Right.
Showing a little grace, but also learning to advocate for yourself as a person with a sensory processing issue. Those things can come together and help people understand. Again, this invisible disability that is not rudeness, and it's not a refusal to participate. It's really just an inability to regulate their senses. But there's so many, like I said, so many strategies. This is not medical advice. This is not educational advice. This is person-to-person advice. So contact your child's school, contact your pediatrician, try to hook up with a licensed occupational therapist that can help you develop a sensory diet that will help.
Yes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Comment below. We'll get back to you. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know your experience. That would be helpful.
And remember, you are valuable, you matter, and everybody has something to bring to the table. So in the meantime, keep watching. We love you.
Bye-bye, guys.